Hello, all of you Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we are serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's award-winning #1 hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I'm joined by my gaggle of gals. We have... Oh, hello, Mr. Lumberjack.
No, it's blue lumberjack today.
Blue.
Michael Mavis, what's up, everybody? And Bimby is back there, buried in the pillows. You can't see him, but he's back there. He's back there
Bimby.
snoozing.
And of course, we have Mr.
Hey guys, Justin Hareld.
And of course, decked out in a flower print that it looks like.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Araceli. Happy Sunday.
Yay! Happy Golden Globe Sunday. Oh, and
Golden Globe Sunday and the last Sunday of the month.
Yeah, what a short month. Someone was like, they should prorate rent in February, and I agree.
I agree as well.
I'm just saying. Welcome, everyone. If you are watching us live, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching us later, thank you so much. And hey, we're also on your favorite podcast station, so make sure you check us out, like us, follow us, subscribe there. Dishin Days, a quick search. You can also find us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on the Twitter. The @ is about to be released from quarantine, but still wearing a mask. Also, for your soap opera fix, make sure you hop over to JLJ Media on YouTube. He's got all of your other soap opera fixes, including a recap of General Hospital, Young and the Restless, and Bold and the Beautiful. So make sure you go and check that out. And that's it. Oh, tuning in later, we have our a wonderful special guest, Miss Cady McClain is coming on. I have to practice saying that unless I'm going to say the other name. So make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be a great show today. What did you all think? I said how. What did you guys think of this week's episodes of Okay, fade out. What did you guys think of this week's episodes of Days?
I feel like it went by quick for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was very focused this week. We didn't have a lot of that jumping around that we had last week. We had some good focus on a couple of the storylines, and then a little bit of other sprinkled in. But yeah, it was a solid week.
Yeah,
It was good. It was a lot of setup. I felt like a lot of setting up for future storyline specifically. But yeah, it was good.
Araceli?
I was waiting for our Milwaukee friend, Vince Vitrano, to do an on-air segment on Who Killed Charlie. Who are the suspects kind of a thing. Maybe you do a
he was like, I'm busy this week, y'all.
Oh, wow.
He was like, I can't this week.
Not letting the fans down already.
He did some at-home segments, but I love the real world. Like when George Stephanopoulos, not George Stephanopoulos, who am I thinking of? George Finocchio here in LA does guest appearances on soaps. I love that.
Yeah. I thought this week was very solid. I thought there was a lot of progression in a lot of the storylines and the beginning of a Whodunnit kind of storyline. So yeah, who had done did it and why and what happened was. So yeah, it was a good week. But let's break it on down for everybody. It is now time to start Dishin Days. I feel like y'all wait for me.
No,
we do.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Like, if that is not a Kodak moment right there, just
okay.
The outfit just works wonderfully today. Where they just like
I just threw this on. I changed my backdrop as well. It was great. It's fabulous. I feel rejuvenated. So let's kick things off with the first storyline, which is, did you hear about Charlie? Exactly. So we have the whole Charlie storyline, which involves a lot of people. So I will say a lot of fans are disappointed that I'm not sure. They're more so disappointed that Mike Manning is not going to be on the show anymore.
Yeah, that's the disappointment.
I did a virtual Q&A with Mike this past week with Spectrum Celebrity Events. And everybody just kept saying that they're going to miss him on the show, which is, it speaks volumes at the fact that in this short time, he made like such an impact on the show. And I, of course, have rewritten how they could have done it to where they could have made him stay on. But man, this last week, Charlie had it rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this whole now murder mystery of Charlie?
I love Mike Manning dearly. He, he has earned his accolades, and hopefully we get an Emmy nom out of this.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. But Charlie had to go.
Yeah,
He had to go.
Yeah.
He literally spent the last day of his life pissing off every single person in Salem.
And like rubbing it in everybody's face that he's basically just gotten away with everything and that he's never going to be punished. And basically he was telling everyone, suck it. And so, and then he's dead.
So here's the interesting thing is that you knew something was going to happen because everybody was saying everything, right?
Yeah.
So you had the situation where Claire tried to bring Charlie over to get a confession. She got it, but then like he discovered it and deleted it. Belle came rushing in once she heard like Claire's screaming for help. And that caused an issue, which also caused a ripple effect. So there was Belle, who was like, you come near my daughter, I will kill you. Then he ran into John, who was like, what did you do to my granddaughter? Because Charlie told him that he went over to Claire's and interacted with Belle and everything like that. Charlie then goes over to Ava's apartment and finds Nicole, to which then, like you could tell Nicole was mad at him and being like, stay away from Ava. But then Charlie had the bright idea of killing Tripp possibly, which then led
I love how you're going through this, Tony.
I know, like
there was a lot.
It was a lot. So that then led to cut to Claire telling Allie what happened. Allie being like, you know what? I think I need to take things in my own hands. And then the whole thing, and then Ava and Rafe and Nicole get to Ava and Rafe's house. Nicole leaves. Ava starts reminiscing about Charlie, which again, it's like, okay, I'll get to why I'm going through it. So then that happened. And then I think at this point, we cut to Charlie in the apartment, knock, open the door, don't shoot, boom, cut to Charlie dead, Sammy coming out of his bathroom, like she's the cleaning
there's the
lady.
Sammy factor.
Yeah, and so I went through all that because in True Days fashion, they're basically giving you the possibilities of who had did it and why, right?
Yep.
But also in True Days fashion, they just all of a sudden cut to Sammy holding a gun and being like, you deserved it. And I was like, no. There is no way in the world that Days is just going to reveal the killer the same week that the boy dies.
No way. We're not going to find out for like a month, if that even. We're going to go through a month of, this is going to be like a Pretty Little Liars where like everybody's the killer for like a minute. And then we'll find out, oh, they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe they'll reveal it. I wonder if they'll reveal it to us sooner, but not to like, but it'll be revealed to us who actually did it. And then it's the storyline to us is like everybody unraveling who did it.
I think I can make I'm going to make a prediction right now.
Okay, wait, before you do that, hold on.
Okay.
Not on who, but
let's first make a list of suspects.
Oh gosh. Okay. I got my fingers.
Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the list of suspects are who? Okay, like who would they be?
Tripp.
Claire. Or
Oh, that's
Belle.
right. There's I forgot to mention
Tripp
Tripp.
and Steve.
Okay,
Tripp and Kate mentioned she wanted to pop him off too.
Okay.
But she wasn't there in the scene.
Tripp, Steve.
She wasn't, but no.
Tripp.
No, but she mentioned it to Jake.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Tripp.
Okay.
Steve. Kate.
Allie.
Claire.
Ava.
Belle. Ava.
John.
90% of the cast. It's probably quicker to name the people who aren't suspects.
Right.
Lucas threatened to threaten him.
Lucas started it off last week because he said he'll kill him.
Lucas. Sammy, she got caught with the gun.
Sammy.
Steve. Did we say Steve?
Yeah.
We said Steve. Are we going to put Nicole on this list?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
I mean,
Nicole.
Yeah.
Because she'll be protective of Ava.
Yeah.
And Allie. And
I got
her, yeah.
No, I meant of Allie.
Oh, of Allie,
yes.
That's everyone, right? So we got Tripp, Steve, Kate, Allie, Claire, Belle, Ava, John, Lucas, Sammy, Nicole.
I count 11.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, okay, 11. And someone in there was like, for once, Ben is not a suspect. Okay.
Yes.
Now I ask you all, and this will be our official guess. As of Sunday, February 28th, 3:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as to who had done, we're calling this who had done shot
Done
Charlie.
did it.
Let's see. Who had done shot Charlie?
Who done did shot Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do round robin, and you state your, in like 30 seconds, because we don't want to go all day. Say who you think it is and why. Who wants to start it?
I'll go.
Kristen?
It's none of the people named. I think my guess is it's going to be Angelo, either himself or ordered. I don't think it's any one of the main cast. I don't think it's anyone we've named. I think it's Angelo. One guess, right? We only get one guess, right? Or
only one guess. One guess, one theory.
All right, I'm leaning towards Angelo, but I'm saying for sure it's not any of the main cast.
Okay.
Yeah. My thinking is they're not gonna.
I'm gonna say, since we saw Sammy with the gun, I think multiple people were involved in that situation. I'm gonna say, I think it was, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna say, I think it was Allie,
okay,
Belle, and Sammy. And Sammy was trying to like clean it up, but I don't think it was an intentional murder. I think it was accidental, and that those three were there. All of them were there, but all of them were there for different reasons. The gun went off somehow, but it was either accidental or self-defense.
Okay.
I don't think it was just cold-blooded murder.
Araceli?
Allie. I'm going to go with Allie. Based on the fact that Sammy's being Sammy, and she made this move
Yeah.
when Rafe was questioning her, and Rafe brought up a very good point of, Sammy, I know you wouldn't be like pontificating this much if you didn't have something to do with this, which leads me to believe she didn't pull the trigger, but she knows who did. And who would she protect?
Yeah. So while watching it, because I knew I was going to do this, I agree with Justin that it's none of the people listed. I think it's someone who was ordered to do it, but it is someone that we know, but it's no one that's currently on the canvas.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
And I think that I think Sammy was going to do it, but by the time she got there, it had already had her sis.
Agree.
So that's my prediction. Now, I will say that we are, as we continue to investigate the who had done shot Charlie, we can continue developing and changing our theories. Okay. So I said what I said. And look, I even made notes on my SAG voting information. I wrote writing everything down there. Known suspect. Okay. Can we talk about how Sammy was at the police station and Rafe tried to be a cop to her and she was like, "Can we not?"
Yeah.
I've already been there. Oh, you all in the chat room and you all who are watching later, comment and participate in the Who Had Done Shot Charlie segment of our show until we find out who actually shot him. A lot of people, let's see, Sammy killed him because she was at his apartment. Someone said, I hope it's Sammy and she goes to jail. Someone said it's Dixie Martin from All My Children.
It's Marlene that she made him a bad frittata.
Right. Patrick TV said that he thinks it's Ava because she kept saying he committed suicide, or Claire. Mm-hmm. That was the other thing too with Ava. She was quick to be like, "Oh, he probably committed suicide." Mm-hmm. This pressure of everything, which I actually bought what she was saying because I was like, I mean, it's a tough week for him. So, and he's already kind of unbalanced.
Yeah, I didn't think that was so far-fetched. Yeah.
Dylan Matthews said the elephant did it. No, I have an alibi for the elephant. The elephant was right here in my possession. So it wasn't the elephant. But yeah, how do we feel about this Who Had Done Shot Charlie storyline? Are we with it? Are we just kind of meh? Are we intrigued by it? Do you think it'll spiral
I'll be with it as long as they don't make it so convoluted and so confusing that at some point, at some point they have to let us know. When they go for weeks and months without letting us know, it leads to frustration. And then I don't know about everyone else, but after a few weeks, I'm I either need to know who did it or I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
The longer they draw it out. So I'm hoping it's a nice, clear, concise, and that I was talking to Justin before the show that it makes sense who did it, that they don't just create a killer or back in the day, I was kind of equating it to when they thought Kristen had been murdered and then it ended up not being Kristen. Then we thought it was Susan. Then no, it wasn't Susan. And then it ended up being this long lost sibling of Susan who just happened to look exactly like Kristen. And it wasn't a big deal that she was killed because she was dying anyway. And that's how the storyline ended. And it was just so odd and weird. And I was it was just so unsatisfying. I want this to be I want it to be someone. I want it to be someone from the list. Honestly, I don't want them to pick someone out of thin air. I want it to be someone, but I do want them to surprise us a little bit.
Yeah,
I also agree. I also don't want, because people in the chat room were they're bringing on Charlie's twin, and I'm let's not do that.
Oh yeah.
I feel we did that to save face with Stefan. And that decision to kill off Stefan, and then we got Jake, which we're all for, but we don't need a sequel to that storyline, especially so close together. So I don't want it to be that. I feel vested in this because I'm a fan with open arms. I just want it. I feel like Michael Mattis, where I just want it to be done correctly, and I want it to. I do want it to have some twists and turns where it still could be so many different people. And 1 week the pendulum sways this way, and then it sways back to another. And then at some point, when we're just tired of trying to figure it out, just go boom. Here's the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me-World 2 asked, did Charlie really have to die? I mean, the waste of character Charlie could have been a great villain. Could have taken over Titan just to.
It was either death or no. He had to be punished.
No,
like,
it wasn't. Yeah, there's a thing about. I know that we've talked about other rapists on the show who have been rehabilitated and things like that, but the ones who are just so into what they have done and they're like, I got away with it, and then they keep rubbing it in people's faces. No, those gotta go. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with the storyline so far. I think we're gonna get a little bit of like everyone thinking someone else did it. And I think that's gonna sort of carry it maybe for a while, where people, I think we're in store for people covering for other people because they think they did it. And so I think that's gonna add a little mystery and sort of like plot to it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you this because you guys know that I love to play writer. I've been trying to insert my own character in for years. But I thought about this. When it comes to the character of Charlie, and I think we all kind of agreed that the rape storyline really wasn't needed, like we could have done without it. And if they had decided to do without it, but still wanted to have Charlie on the campus, what I wish would have happened, which I think they had kind of started doing, was who's Henry's father? And have it so that, yes, Charlie was following Tripp. Yes, he got rejected by Allie early on, which caused him to have a couple of drinks to where he got wasted. So a wasted Allie and a wasted Charlie both consensually like had sex and it produced a baby. But poor Allie can't remember for the life of her who it is. And then Charlie comes to town and there's something familiar, like there's something familiar about them. They just can't pinpoint what it is. And then it's the reveal of like, that's the father, but then it also causes this thing because Charlie and Claire are together and Allie and Claire are close. So it causes like that sort of rift and shift and like, and then, you know, kept the backstory of Ava and everything, and that Ava is Charlie's mother and all he went through with the childhood, but then somehow connect with Gwen to explore that as well. So there's a lot of avenues that Charlie could have been used on. So as long as they had eliminated the rape part of it. That's just my theory. And then Terrence comes to town as a long lost friend of Charlie. And they like cause trouble at Titan and stuff, you know. So yeah. But I mean that's pretty much what happened in that storyline. It's now caused a who did it and why. And you know what? And I have to say, a couple of things regarding Ava. One, I like that we hear her side of Charlie, and I think what it is that she was just going through such a rough time with the loss of Steve and Tripp, that someone pushed this new family on her. And I don't think mentally she was ready. Like when she commented, I had this new baby and I'm looking at the baby and I have no love for it. I think because she wasn't in the right mindset or the capacity to love another human being. And I mean, I've never been a mother, I can only empathize. But you automatically think, oh, your mother instincts are supposed to kick in. But when you're in a whole different mental state, I don't think that can happen, which caused all that. And side note, I think I'm more team Rafe and Ava than I am team Rafe and Nicole.
I'm with you on that.
They had chemistry this week. I could see it. Tony, I totally agree with you. And the thing is that she was just, as she was describing it, it hit me. I'm like, that it's like, of course, no one's, Charlie didn't buy it. Of course, he wasn't, not just from a child, but because guess what? If you give her, if someone says like, oh, I felt this way, I couldn't feel it. If you put it into those just words, people will try to make excuses like, oh, you're uncaring, you're unfeeling, blah, blah, blah. Let's call it what it is. She was clinically depressed. and probably had postpartum depression on top of it.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on.
Another thing too, I like that her story was pretty much exactly Charlie's version too, when he gave his version to Tripp a few weeks ago, and I thought that was good. I'm glad that they were sort of on the same page there, and it wasn't Ava sort of rewriting history, and it was basically as sort of Charlie described it, like his dad raised him, his dad would take him over there, and she was just kind of blank and cold to him, and so I like that they kept their stories consistent. They didn't try and give like her spin of it, and her retelling was very accurate to what Charlie was. I appreciate that.
But at the same time, there comes a point where you have to stop blaming your parents for your behavior.
At some point, you have to deal with it. That's what therapy's for. So that you can be a working human being in the world. Also, side note, attention days. Let's please not continue to take pictures in front of the glass wall, because there are multiple pictures of people in front of that wall, and we notice. So like they showed the picture of Ava and little baby Charlie.
Oh yeah.
And it was in front of the glass wall. But then like if you look at other pictures of couples, it's always in front of the glass wall. And so it's kind of like everybody, there can't be a set place in Salem that has a glass wall that everybody just go take their random pictures at. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, there goes that damn glass wall again. Like, I know there are other places, like, take it in front of a bush, take it on the park bench, like, like something cute.
And that's supposed to be Philly, right? Because that was Charlie, right? Was that Charlie or Tripp? Well, either one, it would have been the Salem. Either way, it would have been Philly. Yeah.
Take it in front. Look, they got bushes everywhere. Take it a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have did it in the hospital.
That's usually the standard
that would have been
picture.
better.
Yeah. How do we feel going back to the beginning of the week? On the list of people Charlie just would not shut up in front of. How do we feel about Tripp wanting to step up for Allie and Henry?
I am all for a Allie, what's his name? Tripp Allie thing. I feel like they should have taken a beat before exploring that. I feel like it's too, for me, it just feels like a little too soon. Like, oh, I've just spent months accusing you of rape. Now I apologize. Now we're going to be a couple. And it's like, no, they should have waited like a few weeks, then introduced that. I feel like it would have been a little more organic that way.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably using Henry as the gateway though to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I think their thought is that him coming over and being the good uncle is the time, is the cooling off period per se between them. And move to something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much remorse I would already have for someone that accused me of rape and also almost ruined my medical career. Yeah. So I like them together.
Yeah.
I just think there needs to be a moment. Like I like that they're reconnecting. But I just think, there just needs to be a moment.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have moments as Charlie's murder investigation ramps up. I think we'll get those moments. And I always thought from the second that they had their first scene together that they had chemistry. Yeah. That scene where they just run into each other, I was just like, oh, where you could talk from the first second. And I really like how Tripp held himself during that confrontation with Charlie, because Charlie looked at Henry all of a sudden. Mind you, that came out of kind of left field. He had no interest in Henry up until that point, up until Tripp started saying these things. Charlie looked at Henry as a possession. He's my son. He's mine.
Yeah.
And Tripp looked at this innocent baby and he held him and he was like, this is someone that needs to be protected.
Yeah.
By me or somebody. This is someone that needs to be nurtured and protected, and there's no such thing as too much love.
Yeah. And also, this is my family too. This is my nephew.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All right. Let's continue on with the next storyline, which is the main Kristen, Suzanne, Vivian, Chloe, Brady, and Lonnie. Okay, I think fans are having a hard time with this one. The thing that I find enjoyable is a chance to see Kristen being Susan and Susan being Kristen. I just right off the bat, it's like, Kristen, you're going to give yourself away. Like, either you just let Brady know what you did, or it's just going to continue just looking very suspicious that Susan is basically hateful to Chloe.
She's not willing to play the part. I don't know what they're doing with Kristen. I really don't. I wasn't a fan of this. Like you, Tony, the highlight for me is the fact of seeing them play each other. That's the only sort of like joy I'm getting from this. But I feel like we're slipping back in. All the sort of progress Kristen made is sort of gone out the window, and I'm not really sure now what they're doing with her anymore. So I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's a way to keep Stacey Haiduk on the canvas, because like when you go to jail, it's just kind of like, okay, like you're gone. But they did the same thing with Maggie. When Maggie went to jail, they kept showing her in jail, and it's like, okay, eventually like she'll probably get out, because they just didn't send her away and that's it. But with this, like the whole like breaking out to like, you know, be with Brady and protect him from Chloe, which, I mean, I think Miss Chloe needs to be honest with herself and say that there are some feelings. And I think Brady, being Brady, will eventually kind of go that same route. So I kind of understand now why Kristen did it, but I'm still just kind of like, either find a way to where like Kristen didn't have to go to jail and this didn't have to be a jail thing. Or something, but I think what's keeping my attention is them playing each other.
My favorite moment was Kristen trying to be psychic Susan, and it was just so stupid and ridiculous. I couldn't help but giggle at it.
Yeah,
and it didn't even get the treatment, but it was still fun.
Yeah, she's not willing to play. And honestly, if she was smarter, she would befriend Chloe. That would be the move, instead of coming off incredibly weird and jealous. It's like, I don't know. I just
keep your enemies closer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not. I wouldn't say it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, because she had nothing to do with sort of Brady and Chloe becoming closer. But I feel it's sort of a happy accident that she's right, as opposed to them having something going on. I don't know.
Everyone in the chat room is laughing at when Susan said, Kristen said, "Bite me," and then was like,
"Oh no,
that's what the cat said in Alice in Wonderland, right? Bite me. Oh no, eat me. Yeah. That's what it is."
Oh my god,
hilarious. So yeah, and I mean, even the plan itself made me laugh, because like Kristen is like, Michael mentioned we felt the same, the get you gotcha, like we thought they had switched
on
already,
Monday,
but then they didn't, and I was just like, like when is this switch going to happen? And then it finally,
that's what I was like, they still haven't done it yet.
Yeah. But then the plan that they had when Susan came, and then Vivian was in on it. And then like Kristen gives the look like, okay, bitch, it's time. And then Vivian's like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but oh Lord, somebody. And Susan literally looked like, really? Like that's what we're doing?
Guys, refresh my memory. Why is Vivian helping them?
Vivian, remember, talked to Kristen about applying a wedge between Kate and Jake.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
to which
I was like, this doesn't seem like an even trade, because Kristen's not good. Kristen's saying yes, but she's not gonna do anything about it, and Vivian should know that.
I mean, listen, if I was Kristen, I would have said, yeah, of course I got you. Like,
Yeah.
And I would have been like, I got my own problems. Like,
exactly.
I'm not here trying to,
Right. Just
like, ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. So, but I love those last moments of just like Kristen, like seeing Kristen and Vivian like re-interact and her be like, oh my God, you haven't aged a bit. Well, you know what that means? You're ain't nothing but a vampire.
I did like Susan and Lonnie was kind of cute with Susan trying to keep up appearances, and then when she started going into EJ, and I thought that was a little.
Oh, with Lonnie, because Lonnie came to visit, and Lonnie's kind of like, "You okay?"
Yeah, I'm just mad that Susan really decided to do this for a Sunday bar in prison.
A Sunday bar that's not even there. A Sunday bar that's not real. A fake Sunday bar. I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Listen,
I would have been like, no Sunday bar, guard.
Right.
Get me out of here. That main Kristen tied me up and forced me to look like her, and now I'm stuck in here. And I'm at Susan was like, "Yep, I'm gonna be here for a month," and Lonnie was like, "A month?"
Yeah. It's like, oh, girl, are you trying to break out again? Like,
okay.
Who came up with that timeline too? What's that about?
I think Kristen told her like a month. I think that was part of Kristen's, deal. Like, oh, it'll only be for like a month. I swear.
Yeah.
I think that's where the month came from.
But I hope that's our timeline too. Of like, hey y'all, we're just gonna deal with this for a month.
I hope it's not. I hope it's a month real time, not a month Salem time.
Not Salem time. Yeah.
Oh, God,
into 2022. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it with that storyline. It's just gonna be fun watching Kristen be Susan and Susan be Kristen, and everyone kind of like figuring it out. Then we have Ben, Ciara, Evan, Christian, Orpheus, and Clyde. Raise your hand if you're ready for Ciara to get out of the glass cage. I'm just kind of like I'm so ready for her to be rescued, and there's a part of me that was very happy when I don't know why I sound like that. When Evan Christian was talking to Orpheus, his dad, and Orpheus kind of going over the plan, and basically Orpheus' plan is to keep Ciara alive so that he can get money again. Because he tried to do the same thing before he went in jail, and it didn't work. And I feel like there was a moment where Evan Christian was like, "Oh, so it's all about you and not what I want."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "I'm not going to be used."
Yeah.
He's like, "What's in it for me? What am I getting out of this?"
And so many people in the chat room raised their hands.
They agree.
But I hope it's a moment where Evan Christian is not about revenge on Ciara, that he is like a brand new person and just wants to go live a better life. And so, y'all think he's gonna get revenge?
No, he loco.
No. He is 100% all out for himself.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he faked to a point the new improved Evan Christian, and he just was kind of biding his time, waiting for a moment to get what he wanted, the revenge on Ciara. And now he's getting it. Yeah. And now he was pissed that, that I think that's how, Orpheus got him to do it in the first place. But now Orpheus is backtracking and be like, no, we're going to ransom her to get some cash. And he's like, no.
Yeah. No. And that's the other thing. That's the other reason I want Ciara out quickly, because at least with Rhodes, she was well taken care of. She, she got some good reading in.
She was personal.
With Evan Christian, this is it's a completely different ballgame because he has it out for Ciara. So now we're in no holds barred territory where he's gonna twist the knife as far as he can now.
I almost kind of wish then that. Well, no, because then that wouldn't have made sense. I was gonna say just cut out the whole Rhodes thing and just had it be
Evan Christian the whole time. Yeah, it's a little odd that they kind of did the switch last week. I mean, the explanation makes sense, but the fact that it even happened was like, oh, okay, now we're going this road. It's not just about Vincent and this guy keeping her for Vincent. It's now Evan getting revenge. So they kind of, took a different course with it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a good twist, but I'm like, she's like, she needs to get out of there now.
I'm ready for some movement.
I don't know what's going to happen next, but it's not going to be good. What was I thinking about also? Clyde. Never ever thought I would say this. Thank God for Clyde.
I know.
You will never in any other situation have me hear me saying these words, but thank God for Clyde because he's on it. He's already like, I'm investigating.
Well, and remember, like Ciara really endeared herself to Clyde when she helped save Ben from, I can't remember exactly what was happening at the time, but Ciara like helped him escape or get away or something. And then after that, it was like, oh, she's aces in my book. So I think Clyde is genuinely trying to help Ciara.
She saved his son from being murdered. So he's all in for her.
Yeah. Dylan Matthews keep wanting us to address Orpheus having a cell phone and Kristen having to use a phone. Did y'all see? Like, I thought Orpheus was at the payphone too.
Yeah,
he had a cell phone.
Oh, he did.
Oh,
Well, how easy it is to smuggle a thing there.
He was at a payphone earlier though. Maybe it was just one scene with the cell phone because it wasn't always a cell phone.
This week it was a cell phone because I remember thinking the same thing. I was like, well, why is he on a cell phone? Why is he on the payphone? But Orpheus, for whatever reason, the way they're writing it, Orpheus just has.
He has power in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Kristen has the run of that whole ward. I mean, she gets visitors when she wants. She has free access, internet access. She gets to use a phone when she wants. Like,
I mean,
she's not hurting.
Center.
She's not hurting.
But let's face it, Kristen looks at the same website the whole time that she's using the computer in jail.
Yeah.
It's kind of like refresh and it's still there.
Like, you can play Bejeweled on that thing, right?
Yeah, you can do so. You can play Orchid Trail if you want to. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many. Solitaire.
Do they have the
discs? Yeah.
The what?
The discs, like the floppies, like the actual floppies of yesteryear.
Oh my gosh!
Give her shots of Chloe. Just enough.
Well, you guys, I hope that you are enjoying our wonderful recap of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. Just a quick reminder, hey, while you're here or listening to us, make sure you subscribe to however way that you are tuning in to our weekly recaps. If you're on YouTube right now, go ahead and hit subscribe. Also, click the bell for the notification button. That way you don't miss any brand new episodes coming up. Or if you're paying attention to us on your favorite podcast station, make sure you go ahead and hit follow. That way, immediately when a new episode is up, you won't miss out and you don't have to go searching for it. Also, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Your support is very welcomed and we appreciate each and every one of you. This announcement brought to you by the kind folks here at Dishin Days. All right, so moving on to some tidbits. We have the Jake, Kate, Philip, and Gabi storyline. I will say this again. I don't want Kate to be insecure about her relationship with Jake.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Period. Kate is too much of a bad bitch. Yeah. Right. Yeah. She's a bad bitch. She's independent. Like, there's no need for her to feel insecure about Gabi Hernandez.
Do you think that so we're in agreement that we think that was because she finally did give Jake an answer and was like, okay, I will resign from working for Abe and I will come to work at Demira. Do you think it was insecurity that drove that?
A little bit.
Maybe a little. Yeah.
It's a little bit insecurity because of the fact that he didn't tell her about the quick run-in that he had, which I was kind of with Jake. I was like, I'm not going to tell her nothing because there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But Kate is like, well, if there was nothing to worry about, then you would have told me. And I'm like, who is this Kate? Like, Kate would have been like,
I know, this is,
Kate hasn't been written right in a long time. Like, they'll have weeks where it's like, oh, this is Kate. Like when she shot Clyde.
I was just going to say, that was the last time.
I was like, okay, that's Kate right there. but like, yeah, this whole insecurity stuff, and the whole, even like the affair with Jack, like that's still like, I accepted it happened, but I'm still like, I don't know, like Kate,
I'm with you on that. Yeah,
Kate's down with the vitamin D, but I don't feel that she would have gone with Jack. I don't, like, it just doesn't ring true to me.
Well, listen, let's not blame her for that.
Right. But here's the thing though. It was a moment. I think that when there's a different vulnerability between two people that maybe hasn't been there before, I think you see the person in a different way. And so I was fine with that one night happening. But I was also fine with how she handled it. It was just kind of like the next morning, she was still on time for work. She went down to the Brady pub. She was still like serving coffee and stuff. When he gathered his thoughts and his things, she literally just like turned and looked at him and said, "Good day." You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a, it was just very much like there's the door, bye. Like we're good. Like we'll keep this between us or whatever. So yeah, a lot of people still aren't on board with Jake and Kate, but I really like their relationship. I just don't want her to be insecure about.
I want them to be like a business power couple. I want them both to be like so confident in themselves and so confident in what they're doing. And like get badass corporate Kate back, and now she has a co. I don't want to say she's playing second fiddle to him. They're like partners, like back when Lauren Koslow first started playing Kate, and it was Victor and Kate against everybody else. They were partners, and I kind of want that back for her.
Bottom line, let's just keep this about business.
Yeah.
Because God knows those two companies have been through the seesaw, and their shareholders are probably pissed.
Right. Agreed. And then, I'm glad that Philip for a second picked up on Gabi, just wanted to stick it to Jake. I think there's a little side of Gabi that does feel played. And so she wants to stick it to Jake. But I still don't think that she really is in love with Jake. I think her heart is still with Stefan. And I think that she wouldn't go for Jake because it would just be like just settling because he looks like Stefan.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is all like residual issues, feelings for Stefan. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad he took on Gabi Sheik so that Gabi can have something to do.
She can reopen that store.
Right.
She doesn't do board well.
Yeah. And I like that they're kind of grooming Gabi to be in the same room as a Kate, Sammy, type deal. And that has kind of been happening for years when the whole Nick Fallon storyline. So I like that.
It's always been kind of like a mentor to her.
Yeah.
To Gabi.
That's another part that that bothers me about. It's like, their relationship is sort of getting
adversarial,
destroyed. Yeah. And it's like
you like them better as friends-ish, or however you want to, whatever you want to call their relationship.
I do, and it's now making them enemies over Jake, who's someone who I think, like you said, Gabi doesn't even have real feelings for. So it's not, like, if they're gonna fight over someone, make it someone that's important.
Well, you never know. Sammy and Kate were adversaries for years and years, and then they were able to find common ground, and they're kind of, like, so the opposite is happening now with Gabi and Kate.
It doesn't really work well the opposite way.
Yeah. Myrtle's in the chat room says, can our super couples get a bedroom scene versus Jake and Kate 24/7? I don't mind. Jake is young and he is like, let me remind you. Yeah. Because if I was Kate and I was with Jake, I'd be like, remind me.
I still don't remember.
Right. And then I say that, and then I forget that my mom now watches this show. So, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Who, by the way, is texting me and She's agreeing with stuff that I have no idea what part she's watching, but she did say she's team Jake and Kate. So there you go. We already talked about Allie and Tripp, so we can skip over that tidbit. We go on to our last one, which is Xander and Ciara and Maggie. Maggie is off in Vegas with Summer. Ciara is nervous because that interaction spun a whole chain of events that happened that is still kind of painful. So that was them sorting.
But it was her dream for them to have the wedding at the Kyriakis house.
Listen, here's the thing: have another dream, because remember they were supposed to get married. They were supposed to get married, and that's when Ciara kind of exposed she knew everything. So listen, if I were them, I'd be like, let's go to the courthouse. Let's go into the backyard. Just somewhere, just not here. Yeah, just not. Let's go over to the Demira mansion. They got a pretty backyard.
Mm-hmm. And does anyone does anyone have an engagement anymore? I felt like the way they were talking, I was like, wait,
so
I missed a
now.
scene.
Yeah.
They were like the wedding, and I was like, oh, you already planned the wedding and it's happening soon. Like I thought I missed something. Yeah.
They're about to.
Yeah. But weren't John and Marlena engaged for like years before they were able to tie the knot again?
But these are also people who have been married 15 times. So
that's true.
There's that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically what Ciara and Xander were dealing with this week. I hope it leads up to a huge wedding. That would be nice. Oh, and really quick tidbit was the planning of Eli and Lonnie's christening. Mm-hmm. That happened as well. And Lonnie...
People.
Huh? Oh yeah,
83 people that we've never seen. Yeah,
right. And I mean that's the entire town of Salem. And also, I don't blame Lonnie for not wanting to go back to work.
Oh no,
yet. It's like, yeah, girl, take your time. Like you have gone through the rigmarole. Like let's not be so quick to go back.
Yeah, that completely made sense. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't she? I mean, a kidnapping aside, and that was a huge thing. How are we just kind of completely throwing maternity leave by the way?
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah.
Most people at least give you 6 weeks.
Okay, like sign me up, and I've been working since birth, so I'm gonna take an additional couple weeks off.
Technically, they've been kidnapped all through maternity leave.
Right.
Christmas to what? Yeah, end of February.
Yeah, so she deserves it. All right, and that was it. That was your week of days, and now it's time for our favorite part of the show, which are our segments, and we're gonna start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh snap!
All right, okay, so listen, my 3 Snaps Award goes to the ladies in Cell Block Tango who decided to pull off the stunt of the Salem jail in order to get Kristen and Susan to switch. This whole scene, even when getting these screen grabs, I was laughing because it was like Kristen was like, "Okay, here we go." Vivian's like, "Oh my god," and then she's like, "Oh," and then Susan's like, "Girl, what is wrong with you?" So, Stacey Hyduke and Linda, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. All right. And now it's time. And now it's time for Caption That.
All right, this week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Tamara Braun, aka Ava Vitale, looking a little perplexed or confused, if you will. And this week's caption goes to Annette Christensen Thompson on Instagram, who I believe I picked her captions before, with her caption, "I don't feel well. Did you get those eggs from Marlena?"
That was a good one.
And that was this week's
Caption That. All right, and now it's time for Those Were the Days.
Hey everyone, I am going to now take you back to February 26th in Days History, 1998, where we were actually, us and the character Lexi found out that Stefano was her father. So this is when it was
96.
Oh, I'm sorry, 96. Thanks, Michael Mattis.
That was a good year. That was a very good year. That's why I remember it. I was like, 96 was a good year.
1996. Yeah, the reason I once I spotted this and going through the history, I totally stopped. Once I spotted this, I knew I had to pick it. This was for me one of those big sort of reveals. I think it changed the course not only for those two characters, but it sort of cemented the Demiras in a different way on the canvas. So yeah, that's why I picked it. That's why Lexi learning that Stefano was her father is.
You remember everything else that happened? That was like, I remember that being like one of those weeks where I couldn't wait to get home from school and prayed that my VCR didn't mess up and I could watch it, because it was like, that was the week that like John was getting executed and then he got saved, but then Stefano kidnapped Marlena, and while Stefano was kidnapping Marlena, Lexi was finding out that he was her father, and it was actually Lexi that ended up busting Stefano. Like they found each other, or she found Stefano and was able to go back and be like, oh yeah, Stefano has Marlena. It was like a good week. I remember that week.
Listen, I like when Lexi decided to embrace the fact that she was a Demira, and there was some party or something that she had on
the mother of the year.
Mother of the year, yeah.
Oh, is that it? And she had on that red dress with like the collar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the curls,
all right.
Yeah.
And those were the days. And now it's time for It's a Gift.
This week's It's a Gift. Well, Rafe said it all. Because you can never.
Yeah, I love that line. Yeah.
You can never just come for brunch. You can
No.
never just come to,
Like wedding,
for a birthday party.
baby shower, just birthday. You just no. It's
She
just
can't.
not possible.
And she's like, I just like Sammy was just like avoiding a direct answer to every question.
Oh.
And he was just like he's like, I gotta deal with this shit again. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny, entertaining, cute.
And that was It's a Gift. And of course, make sure you tune in to Me World 2's Old Shiz Moment of the Week. There's only a few more weeks before Me World 2 shuts it down. So we will be sure to retweet that. And now it's time for some news and gossip brought to you by Justin.
Yes, we're going to start, unfortunately, a little sad today. All of us here at Dishin Days want to give our sincere condolences to Eric Martzoff, our very own Brady, and his family. Unfortunately, his mom passed away earlier this week. And Eric posted a really loving tribute to her on his Instagram post. So after this episode, those on Instagram, please go over and check it out. It was really, really sweet about his mom and his memories and who she was as a person. And I have a little bit here I just want to read for you. Quote, my mom was the most original mixture of beauty and toughness I've ever known. She lived and loved fiercely, and the family unit was always to be treasured and never abandoned. So yeah, it was very sweet. Eric, so please go and check out the our sincere condolences go out to Eric and his family. Eric's been a great sort of friend to the show, and yeah, our condolences, our prayers, our good vibes out to him and his family.
Yes.
Switching gears a little bit, we had a ton of birthdays this week. We're going to start off with J. Kenneth Johnson, our very own Philip, celebrating his birthday on February 24th. So happy birthday to him. We have Greg Rickard, ex-Leo on Days, who all wish would come back, celebrating his birthday on February 26th. As much as we missed him as Leo, you can currently catch him as Kevin on The Young and the Restless. Moving along, Brandon Beamer, our very own Don Douglas.
Y'all ready for this one?
Who's picking these photos?
Okay, I will take credit for it. This was me all the way. Yeah.
Y'all some thirsty people.
Yes, we are. Brandon Beamer celebrating his birthday on February 27th. A very big, happy 40th birthday to Brandon.
Yeah.
Looking like that. So yes, enjoy.
Someone's going to tell Brandon about this.
Last but not least, a very special, happy birthday to Leanne Hunley, our very own Anna Demira, celebrated her birthday on February. So happy birthday.
Yeah.
Moving right along, Spectrum Celebrity Events has upcoming virtual Q&As, including one with Casey Cott from Riverdale and our very own Vanessa Williams, Valerie Grant, with more to be announced. For every ticket sold, Spectrum donates $10 to True Colors United, For tickets, visit spectrumcelebrityevents.com.
And if you guys are hesitant about doing it, it is a very fun time. Like, yes, you're sitting on a Zoom, but you're sitting on a Zoom with just a few other people, and it's very lively, it's very fun, and so you should do it. So come join us. It's fun. I
Bring
promise.
a cocktail.
And the money goes to the money goes to a good cause.
To a great cause.
Very good
Yes.
cause.
So you're helping and also getting a chance to interact with your favorite star from Days of Our Lives or any other TV series. So come join us.
Win-win.
Win-win. Win-win for everyone. Winner, chicken dinner. All right, everyone. It is that time of our show where we will show you what's to come next week on your favorite soap opera, Days of Our Lives.
So this is the man who knocked up my sister.
Sammy never touched the gun.
Then why are her fingerprints all over it?
A little late to be doing your laundry, isn't it? You have a body in there, don't you?
What is going on? I am for the Gabi Abigail team up though. I think that's
for
cute.
sure.
And for an extended preview, make sure you go to the Dual app to watch that. I have to say there is so much buzz about Jackée Harry joining Days of Our Lives. Like, I've had people message me and say, Jackée Harry's coming to Days, and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I think I'm going to tune in just to see like what she does. And I'm like, all right. And just from that clip, I think she's going to be I feel like this. I feel like she's going to be what Bonnie Lockhart was when she first came on. She's going to be that fun, like quirky, just kind of like lovable, funny character.
Yeah.
So,
and Jackée and James, I'm here for it. I'm just like, yes.
Now, I can tell you what Michael Madis is not here for is the tongue-in-cheek moment that was given. If you guys look at
I didn't even like that didn't bother me.
That one didn't bother you?
That didn't bother that she just wore something similar to what she wore on her first
pilot
episode of
227.
But what I am for, did you guys see she posted a clip from 227 of her and the other two main ladies from 227 doing Jump by the Pointer Sisters in one of the episodes. I was like, okay, this I will take a reenactment of on Days. If they can reenact
her, Lonnie and Valerie, is that where you
or something?
That'd be one heck of a christening.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
That will be amazing.
That you know what that would be? That would be a true after christening party. That's what that is. Because it's like, it's like no one just goes to church and baptizes babies and we have an exception. No, we party.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everyone. It's now that time. Our special guest is here, and we're going to let her in. She so kindly stepped into the role of Jennifer Horton and gave us all of her talent. Please welcome, for the first time on Dishin Days, she's Miss Cady McClain.
Yay!
Hi.
I think
she's getting
she's getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Cady.
Hello.
I think.
On mute, I think, yeah.
No, she's not muted. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, I can now. Hello. Sorry about that. I was like, you probably were like,
it's
we're dead silence.
It's totally fine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Sunday.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We definitely wanted to have you on because, what an amazing job you did as stepping into the role of Jennifer Horton. And like, I know you're familiar with soap fans and how we can be when someone comes into a role that we're very familiar with.
Fickle.
And we're all sitting there like this, like, okay, what are they gonna do? But the work that you did and the storylines that you had, we wanted to definitely come on and just hear your take on it and talk about it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I wouldn't say that soap fans are fickle. I'd say they are very loyal.
They are.
And that's one of the beautiful parts of the daytime experience is being involved with loyal fans and, you know, getting to have to prove yourself and saying, you guys, you know, you've been watching these shows and this particular show for a long time. And I knew these were going to be some big shoes to step into. I was like, ooh, I better be ready to dump.
So speaking of, like, how did it all happen? Like, were you sitting at home one day, like cooking or doing something and ring a ding ding, hi, this is Days and we want you to fill in as Jennifer Horton?
That's exactly how it happened. It was truly just out of the blue. I can't remember. I think it was my manager found the email. She was like, "Oh my God, my assistant just found this email." It's like, gee, that makes me feel really confident in how things are going over there. But okay, and they're interested in you coming onto the show and taking on this role. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's have the conversation and see where they're at and how I can help. And I think because it was COVID time and it still is, obviously, right? But I was just like, I understand that everybody is in a different place in terms of, walking onto a set right now. And so I just so happened, I was like, wow, I live really close where we have a very confined and organized life, my husband and I, and we don't have children and we don't have certain things to think about. So it's less of a risk factor, would be less of a risk factor for me. So I was like, okay, well, this will be fun, and I can help the show out a little bit because they've got a big storyline they want to do. And then I get to just see like, okay, well, how does this feel?
That was one of the things that Ron told us when he was on, was that they had this whole storyline that included the character of Jennifer, and COVID and everything just kind of shifted everything. And it's like, the show still has to kind of go on. And so, it was like there we understood like why things had to happen, the way that they did, because like, there's this whole storyline that we thoroughly enjoyed. And if it didn't happen, how are they gonna fill that storyline in?
Well, especially now that it's been revealed that Gwen is Jack's daughter. Like, you could not have Jennifer not there. While we were actually aiming for that, there was just so many characters that were woven in, and I think it's kind of fun actually, though, for people who are fans who watch the show to be able to think back and go, all the characters and twists and turns and the ups and downs. It wasn't just because sometimes there is a 2-track character that only, a character arc or a storyline arc that doesn't involve so many people. And sure, if somebody's sick or something happens and they can't come in, they'll do a mad rewrite for that. This was like, the opera of the opera. You had like, Valkyries and, angels coming down from the ceiling. You're like, I can't rewrite it. Are you crazy?
I know they're so grateful for that you stepped in, Cady. How did you feel stepping into a role that Missy Reeves originated and has been for 30 years? You know what that's like to be on the canvas as a character for that amount of time. You know how that makes fans feel. How did you feel stepping into that position?
I really had to not think about it. I had to be like, no, I'm not thinking about this because and here's how I did it. Because when I played Dixie, every 2 years, I would just tell myself, okay, she's a new character. It's a new character, because sometimes there'd be new producers. So the producer would be like, no accent. And then a new writer or producer would come back on and they'd be like, what happened to her accent? And, you're like, oh, I guess she's Southern again now. Okay. And you just kind of got to roll with it. So that was the only way I could do it, was like, don't look at Missy's performances. Don't look at her history, because I'll get intimidated. I get intimidated by the depth of that actress in that role over that period of time. And then I would feel like, oh, am I copying her? Should I copy her? Should I do my hair like her? You know, and it would have freaked me out. I just knew, don't do that to yourself. That said, I did watch some of like the best of stuff, and I was like, oh, you know, I just fangirl out because I love Missy and she's amazing, and this Jack and Jennifer are amazing, and they have this great character arc, and like it's so beautiful. And so I tried to like use that part of me to say like, okay, well, just look at it from the character point of view, and don't weird yourself out, and just do your take on it. You know, there's a character named Jennifer, and that's all, you know, and then she's been with Jack on and off for a long time, complicated history, get some of those details and go. You know?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that we noticed was that, and one of the things we noticed when any character comes in to as a recast or to fill in is that you have to have the essence or just the foundation of the character, and then you lay your interpretation on top, which I thought you did a great job of like having the foundation and essence of Jennifer, but then adding your own talents to it as well, which, you know, it still felt like we had Jennifer, you know what I mean? Like we like, it wasn't like a completely different take where we were like, who is she playing? Who is this? Because we have had that before. But it was just a great addition, and to know that you at least like looked at the best of and just kind of said, all right, I see it, I got it. Now let's do it. And I have to block out the noise because, you know, so our loyal fans can be very vocal.
Oh my gosh. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Another thing I couldn't look at, I was like, that girl is in shape. Okay. She is an athlete. And I was like, that's not happening here. So I was like, oh my gosh. You know, like the when the wardrobe guy called me, he goes, okay, so like, what do you like to wear? And I was like, do you have a lot of black? Slim lines, but because I'm a curvy girl.
Yeah, so, I think that's how we all feel, especially during this quarantine.
After this, oh my gosh, I know, it was COVID. I'm like, I have been eating cookies and baking bread, okay? Like, what are you doing to me?
So, living your best quarantine life, yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But it was great motivation because I also was like, okay, we're going vegan, honey. And I was, poor John. And he was like, what? But you know, it got me working out and taking better care of myself. So that part of it was like very motivating and positive for me, just for my life.
Yeah. Did they give you, when you were having these discussions with the show, did they give you like a full rundown of like because let's see, you were there for like 4 months, I want to say,
just
about 4 months. A lot happened to Jennifer in that 4 months. And I want to say it's like the most that's happened to that character in like years.
Yeah.
Like did they like preface it with like, okay, girl, you're going to come on and it's going to be a lot? Or were they just like, come on, we have some stuff for you? And then you were just reading, you're like, oh, the husband had an affair. Oh, the husband has another dot. Like it was a lot. Like did they like, do you feel like they adequately like prepped you for what this 4 months was going to look like? Or were you just like for it? Were you just like, okay, whatever?
No, they definitely told me that it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Get ready. It's a big arc. There's a lot going to be revealed, but they don't ever tell you, you know, the big points, you know, there's going to be a character arc. And I knew right away that Jack and Jennifer were going to split up for a period of time. Right. Cause that was within, I think that was my 3rd week there. And like the first 2 weeks I was like, would you like some coffee with that? You know, so I was like, is it coming? What's happening? And then suddenly it was like, and can I just tell you, like, you know, I haven't worn Spanx in a really long time. That was as epic getting into those Spanx as like learning those lines or during that scene. I was like, what's happening?
Like, oh my gosh.
This is drama, you know?
There's drama happening here, but there's drama happening here too.
Exactly. Behind the scenes, help me, you know?
I think Cady, sorry.
No, go ahead, Justin.
I just said, Cady, it's been great sort of watching you as Jennifer on screen, but one of the things that we have learned, just as fans who aren't that familiar with you, has been your generosity. And we've had Emily O'Brien on a few weeks ago, and then we just recently had Jamie Lynn Bauer. And both of them, what keeps coming up about you is, again, your generosity, how sweet you are, how nice you are, and the fact that you would do these Zoom calls to help people practice their lines. And I think even Gabi was saying there was one time or a couple times you couldn't get certain people on, so you played all the roles, and it was just so helpful and so sweet. And just hear these women sort of express their gratitude for you and appreciation, and it just. As an actor myself, it just sort of struck me as like, wow, this is someone who's really committed and really dedicated for everyone to give a great performance. And if that means, taking time on my day off and doing Zoom calls so we can run lines because we can't do it on set, it was just really wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I could say something really like smart alecky and be like, well, it makes the day go faster once you're on set. Everybody knows their lines. Woo, only time for True Detective, But the truth is, I really take a great amount of joy in watching other people shine. That when I'm able to be a little part of that and helping open up their doors, and if I'm just like the littlest bit of an assist to that, then I get a great deal of satisfaction from that.
Nice.
Yeah.
With everything that happened with the character of Jennifer, did you have a favorite like moment or scene or storyline that you were like, oh my God, like this is fun. Like I'm like, this moment is a good, like, I'm glad I got this today.
Well, the thing I wish I had was I wish I'd gotten a pie in the face. I didn't get a pie in the face, and so maybe the next one. But I did get gosh, what was the most super fun? The slapping. Scenes? There was a lot of slapping.
There was a lot of slapping.
Yes. Right up front. And I got to wind
Salem's
up.
resident slapper, Lauren Koslow. Yeah.
That's right.
She has slapped or been slapped by everybody on that show.
Oh my God. And the thing with the baseball bat with Emily Gwen,
Oh my gosh.
Whacking the poinsettias. I was like, everybody stand back. It's been a long quarantine, I was just ready. I was like, this is a gift,
Yeah. I mean, you've done a lot on soaps, but I'm pretty sure that was new.
Yeah.
It was. I've never beaten fake poinsettias to death with a child's plastic baseball bat. I highly recommend it. It was extremely therapeutic.
A good relief, yeah.
Right.
We do have to tell you, we were singing your praises on those flashback scenes from the 90s where you were playing Laura. Yeah, your version of Laura.
Yeah. How was that? Because I was, for when we were talking about it that week, I appreciated it because it could have went one of two ways. They could have just had Laura just sitting there telling us the story. But when they flashed back and we got the hair and the looks and all that, I was just like, what is happening here? Like, this is fun.
I mean, the fashion alone.
Yes. and Marcy with like the high, and I was like, that's so, like, that look was obviously they were like, go back and see what Missy wore. This is what she did. Now put it on Marcy. Like it, and also like you had such a striking resemblance to Jamie Lynn Bauer at like when like with the hair, and I was like, I believe that like they could really be related somehow.
It was so good, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. How was it for you, like getting the script and being like, flashback, I'm playing Laura. This is like, what's happening?
A blast because spoiler alert, I was there back then. I lived that stuff. So I was like, oh yeah. But I was sort of at the Jennifer age, right? When I was doing it. So my hair was like this big and my shoulder pads were out to here. And I was like, what are you doing to me? But to be able to put on the suit and be like the Linda Dano with the necklace and the chunky bracelets and the giant rings. I was eating it up. I loved it so much. And did you notice that they put the television ratio aspect into 4:3?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it was so brilliant. It was so subtle. And I had so much fun doing that. And the purple suit with the purple shirt, the whole thing. Oh my God, I loved it.
It was really a unique way to do like a flashback. I don't think I've ever seen on, and I only have, days experience of soap watching, but I don't remember ever them doing a flashback. Usually they'll do it with the present actors and just make them up to try to look younger or whatever. Yeah. But this was like such an entertaining, unique way to do a flashback. And all three of you like sold it so well. And that's why it worked, because you all just really really sold it like so well. Yeah. You, Marcy and Emily.
All right, we're gonna do an 80s, we're gonna do a mini lesson in how to do the 80s flashback. Are you ready?
Okay,
right.
Ready.
Okay, it's all about the hands and what you do with your hands. So there's hands in pockets and like, where's the camera? Like, right? Hands in pockets, you always want like a side angle. You're always aware where the camera is. Or are you doing hands like this? Hands in front, hands in pockets, or hands on the hip. Always with the angles. It's all about the angles. So that's what Marcy and I were doing. Sorry, Mr. Peanut wants to come. Hello.
Oh, hi, Mr. Peanut. Look at that cutie.
Hey. He's such a camera hog. But literally, there was a moment where Marcy and I were doing a scene, and I did hands in pockets, and she did hands in front, and then we switched. Like almost at exactly the same time, because we realized like I've got to do something else with my hands. Yeah. Let's change to move number 2. And it's amazing that we didn't break up in the middle of that, because it's literally, you can see it on the show. Like if you roll back, you're like, oh, there's the hand switch.
Oh my God. That's where I don't think you realize this. I think that's where Marcy got it. Marcy had a scene last week where there was a lot of hand action. In the face, I'm like, okay, now I know where she got it.
Yes. And as soon as you become aware of your hands, suddenly you can't stop moving them. So you've got to have positions, like ballet positions that you can go back to. So hands 2.0.
Speaking of Marcy and working with these actors who, are now supposed to be like, Matt's supposed to be your husband, Marcy's supposed to be your daughter. Were you able to interact with them at all before actually, because of COVID, before actually getting on set? Because what we've heard is that when you're in the studio, you get your test, you get your okay to come in, and then you can't see anybody else. You have to go to your dressing room. You're in your dressing room. You're in makeup by yourself. You can't talk. Like, did you find it, how to put this? Like, did you struggle at all to develop a rapport, not being able to have like actual face-to-face time with these new actors you're working with? Or did it, you talk about Zoom and stuff, was that kind of a nice alternative?
Yeah. I had an acting teacher. It's a great question, first of all. And this acting teacher many years ago said, if you're playing across from somebody who you have to connect with, and you've got to connect with them really fast, find something on their face that you really like. So if like I'm looking at you right now, I'm like, wow, the color of your eyes is just amazing. And then you can like fall in love with the color of their eyes, or a sheen on a cheek. And that works also for the motherly aspect of it. If you can look for a vulnerability, like, oh, look at that poor little, like, oh, I want to fix their shirt, or I want to, like you can, you just have to find it. And then Matthew also too, man, he gave me like heavy duty rundowns on all the characters and character histories. And
that's great.
So bless his heart, he gave me a lot of time and was very helpful.
In the chat room, we have a few questions from fans. A lot of people want to know, what did Matt whisper to you in the New Year's Eve scene? Like there's a couple, like there's been a couple people that's like, ask her, what did Matt whisper to her? Did he whisper anything to you?
He did. He said, let's go run upstairs and jump on their bed. I thought that was so cute. I was just so adorable.
That's funny.
Let's go upstairs and jump on their bed. I was like, ooh, sexy.
Patrick TV wants to know, what did you think about Ron writing the peanut butter pancake scene for Jennifer from All My Children when Dixie died? And did you know, like, when you opened the script and saw that, were you like, clever you?
No, my first thought was like, what the heck? And then, I thought I'd gotten past that they're gonna hound me forever. And I was like, never live these down. But then I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
This is a total nudge, nudge, wink, wink, right when you're not expecting it. We know that you watched Cady on All My Children, and you know that was a big part of her history. And so we're going to bring them back, and we're going to, like, I don't know, like, have the lay it to rest moment where nobody will eat the pancakes, which I thought was pretty great. You know, she's like, anybody?
It was such a great vindication for every All My Children fan who will never again eat those pancakes.
Those pancakes looked delicious, though.
And it's the tragedy of the pancakes because they are delicious. Peanut butter and bananas on pancakes is so good. Oh my God, I know.
And you totally sold that scene, Cady, because I didn't watch All My Children, so I knew, like, when she brought it in and I saw your face, it triggered something to me, like there's something here, and I was like, I know I may not know what's going on, but just the fact that your face was in such a panic over it, I was like, this is the funny thing is I mentioned this to the other panelists. I was like, is this like a Jennifer like memory that I'm not like did she have an accident with pancakes before? Like, it was just your face. So your face sold it. So even those of us who didn't watch AMC, we picked up on it because of your acting.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. We wanted to do a little, but not too much, you know? So that's, phew. Thank goodness.
It was like the perfect cherry on top of your Jennifer performance. So I was like, you know what? This has all been Jennifer this whole time. We're going to give this one to Cady.
Yeah. That's so great. That's so great. I'm so happy that it worked out like that. That makes me really, really happy. Yeah.
And everybody was a buzz about it. Like, I think the second the scene aired, like, so fans were like, oh my God, did you guys notice the and they're like, what?
I think we should do a lot more of those Easter eggs, like, I think they're fun, especially for people who've been watching for so many years. And, and you have, like, I don't know, Vincent Irizarry was on, for a while, and he was on All My Children, or like Michael's on General Hospital, you know? And like I think his character's name is Martin, which is just like, hello, when are they going to drop that? I'm like, ding dong, ding, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
There's going to be a Tad coming out there somewhere.
Ask Cady, I know that you've been acting on you've acted your whole career, but you've also been directing, and then you kind of with this call came, you had to step back into the soap world. There are a lot of your people on GH right now. Are you gonna, your time as Jennifer is unfortunately to an end. Are you thinking about making a jump?
Oh.
If I had a magic wand and I could just be like, whatever I would wish, bing, will happen. I mean, I love acting, and I would love to get to act with John, of course, who's on that show, and Michael and Patrick, of course. But there are so many other people that I would love to act with that I have. I mean, Eric Nelson, who played my son on All My Children reboot, I haven't seen him in a while, and like, love to work with him again. And I mean, there's just Chriselle Staus, who is just such a star.
We love Chriselle.
She's so great. And so I guess that would be my magic wand wish, is just to bring all my favorite people together onto a show, and we would all
you mentioned all
children in their lives.
Young.
Not so restless.
Marianne in the chat room wants to know if you have heard anything about any possible involvement in the recently announced All My Children reboot.
You know, I think I'm as much in the dark as you guys are. I know they're developing it, and development takes a really long time. I know the writer is very aware of all the soap history, and the production company is very devoted to the fans and trying to make the fans happy. And that's all I know. That's all I know. So I have every faith, you know, that it's going to be a great reboot. And I mean, bringing it to nighttime is a dream come true. I hope everybody super supports it, because it could mean a whole new world for daytime serials. If they can go nighttime, that would just be incredible for everybody.
Yeah.
I know that you've been on All My Children and Young and the Restless and now Days. With each of those experiences, working on each of those soaps, like what did you take from those experiences, just as a performer and as an actor? Like, what did you walk away, or how did you walk away feeling after doing each of those shows, and especially recently with Days?
Well, I'll say there's one more in there. I have now done 4 different soaps.
Oh, that's right.
As the world turns. So yes. So I you know, one thing that I can tell you, which I think not everybody knows. Sorry, dogs. COVID, dogs, interviews.
Yes.
Is that, you know, it's like running a marathon. You know, working on a soap is like running a marathon, and it is as much of that kind of a emotional marathon, an emotional kind of sport where you have to take really good care of yourself, because it's really hard. There's a trauma element to the scenes where somebody's dying, or somebody's being born, or you're getting married or divorced or cheated on, or, you know, it can, if you try to bring truth to it, it can really take a toll. So I think after each one, I needed a rest. I needed that week in the Bahamas, you know.
Yes.
You know, and an umbrella. So, but I also have like a great respect, you know, for the work that people continue to do on those shows, and that's what I bring to it. I love them. I love the history. I love the relationships with the fans. The fans that have continued to watch me have been so kind and so generous, you know, allowing me to move in and out of these different shows. And, you know, that also just doesn't really happen. You know, sometimes you play a character and the fans won't let you move on from that character. They're like, sorry, you're Dixie and that's it, you know?
Yeah.
I know you wanted to play somebody else, but no. And you won't let that happen. And I don't, you know, when it's that deep in, I mean, it's really hard. And I think that's the other thing is I have so much respect for the audience. So if I'm going to do something, I have to earn your belief. I have to earn that. And so that's something I've learned time and time again, is how important it is to respect the audience, to respect the fans, to listen to the fans and what they want and what they care about, and try to, you know, we're there to provide, in a way, a service of acting as a service. You know, I'm here to entertain you and hopefully make you feel, make you cry, or give you a nice escape from reality. You know, that's my job. And if I've done that, then I feel proud. And if I haven't done that, then I got to go, you know, get my head right and get back in the game in the right way.
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone. I say you did that in spades this time around, playing Jennifer, and it was probably, I don't think at any other time in your career has it been more needed than in this time.
Yeah, agreed.
So beautiful. That makes me so happy. Thank you so much for saying that. I felt that way too. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's COVID. How could I not do this? You know, and it's good for me, but it you know, to distract, you know, to be like, hey, let's all look at this, you know, let's go dive into soaps again. And that just makes me really happy that that works for you guys as well.
It did. Yeah.
Sally Wilson in the chat room wants to know, from back when there were
My dog
Sorry.
does that too.
He likes his screen time too. Yeah. Back when there were everything's West Coast now, but back when there were East Coast and West Coast soaps, and you were East Coast because All My Children, As the World Turns were East Coast. Were there differences, or was it like the only reference like East Coast rappers and West Coast rappers? Like, like East Coast soaps and West Coast soaps? Was there like rivalry between the two, or anything like that? What were the differences, if any?
There are definitely differences, and here's one I will tell you. I remember coming out, and I'll tell you in the form of a story. I remember coming out to the West Coast and coming to one of the big award shows. And I walked into a bathroom, and there was, I forget her name, but I think she played Taylor on Bold and the Beautiful.
Hunter Tylo, yeah.
Hunter Tylo. And I went, oh, and I had to leave because I'd just seen the most beautiful woman I had ever seen on the planet ever. And it was kind of disturbing how beautiful she was. And I was like, I come from the East Coast where people are a little funny looking. And that's basically how it was the difference. The people on the West Coast were the most beautiful people in the world. It's like they tilted the planet, and all the beautiful people, they had to come over here to the West Coast. But if you were more funny looking, you sort of stuck like Velcro. The East Coast. Yeah, that was the main difference, and I could tell you that's probably still true.
That is so funny. I have to mention. Well, first, my mom watches our show here, and instead of being in the chat room, she likes to text me during the show. So she texted me and said, "All My Children was the bomb," and then she said, "Her and Tad Martin." So my mom was a huge fan of All My Children, and I'm sure she is at home in South Carolina, just like in awe that like you're here and I'm chatting with you. And she's probably going to text me in a minute with something else. So hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. I'll tell you something Michael said, which was really beautiful. He said, Cady, I think when we played those characters, we were both bringing to them the very best parts of ourselves. And I thought, oh, that's true. I think that was very true. There was the kindness and the forgiveness that we each were able to be in as characters that were committed to being in love,
Yeah.
And, I love that, when we got in trouble was any time that we would forget that. That was just like, bring the best part of yourselves together, and that's where we had our romance.
Yeah.
Can I ask, when Ron and the producers inevitably asked you to come back to Days to play a brand new character, in your mind, who would you want that character to be?
Oh, she should be a bitch.
Everybody likes to play a villain, right? Like no one wants to come play nice.
Yeah. She could be like,
great character.
And she should absolutely have like shoulder pads and wear a lot of pockets.
And hands.
And lots of perfect hands. I'm listening to you. Very good.
Ron's writing it as we speak.
What fun that would be. I just want to be Linda Dano, in a fantasy, at some time. Just like she was the queen of that, like the smart, powerful, edgy, woman who would just tell it like it is, but always be glamorous and fabulous. Who does? Come on, that's so much fun.
After watching scenes of Dynasty with Diane Carroll as Dominique Devereaux, I suddenly wish that I could like come back as her. Like I want the shoulder pads, I want the hair, I want the fur, I want the essence of her. This champagne is burned. It's burned.
Like I was going to say, you want to insult champagne is what you want to do. You want to really just like sprinkle the shade. Yeah.
Like I want to walk into a hotel and say, I specifically asked for a junior suite. Like that's what I want. And she had the best line where she says, I I don't sleep with my
in
clothes.
my clothes, or be like, yeah.
Or with, and I'm just
with
like,
them.
oh my gosh, that's so great. Like, I want to be that. Like, I want to like have a separate apartment for my clothes, because Dominique Devereaux doesn't sleep with her clothes. Why should Tony Moore? So that's what I.
100%. A room for shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That are brought to you on a tray, you know. That's the
Here are your
wrong
shoes.
shoes. How dare you?
Yeah, not for nothing, Cady. I think you would be the perfect person to write and direct like a one night only charity, like write the script and bring back all your friends and do like an 80s soap storyline together with everybody.
Oh, that could be your As the Days of Our Lives guiding light with all my children become young and restless to be bold and beautiful.
Yeah.
One night only show in the General Hospital.
There's genius happening here in this
Yes.
little circle. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you got my wheels turning. I don't know. Am I
Yeah.
the only one to write this? I don't know. I think I see 4 other cohorts coming up with some great ideas.
Wow.
I need to build my resume.
Yeah, right. I know.
Listen, I would definitely come watch it. I would be the front row, unless you want me to play a Dominique Devereaux type of a character. I think I could
You've already
use my
written.
talents for that.
You're hired. You're hired.
Yes,
Got it, Tony.
finally.
Terrence's debut.
I
Yeah.
don't believe in auditioning. I see the talent. I see the talent.
I love that. Well, everyone in the chat room wants to know what else will you continue to work on? All right, will you be writing? Will you be releasing more music? They're very interested in because you do so much. You do write, you cook, you do music. You're a musician, like you're a producer, like. You know, and with this, you know, the world has been our oyster. Like we have a lot of time to do stuff now. What would you, Cady, like to do now?
If I could do anything, I'd like to be one of those women that like dances with ribbons, you know,
Ribbon dancer?
ribbon dancing, and then the ones that hang from the ropes, and they're not ropes,
Oh,
but they're like
aerialists.
aerialists with the
Yes.
giant strips. It's never gonna happen, but I would love that. I would love.
Never say never.
Yeah.
There
Oh my
are several gyms in LA that are opening up that do aerial work.
Yeah.
Really?
I was gonna say, that's like a workout. Yeah.
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 It looks
Like a-
like
like,
so
Yeah,
much
with the
fun.
hoops. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and but of course, you know, I'll probably sprain my back and like, you know, in the whole night. But that is I think that would be so much fun. I would love to be, you know, in the big circle, right? You know,
Yes.
Yes, go
and,
for
like,
it.
doing all that.
You know what? I say you should do it because for when I turned 30, I did 30 things in 30 days before I turned 30. And one of the things that I always wanted to do, I wanted to take a pole dancing class. And I went to Be Spun in Hollywood because that was the only one that allowed men to take the class. And I did it, and I had so much fun. Like you couldn't tell me I wasn't on my way to a full-on career as a pole dancer.
I love it. I love it. I'd also love to learn to roller skate. I'm so bad
That's
at it.
back in too.
Yes.
It's so back in, and I was like, and they're so good, and I was like, I would just love to have some skates and little headphones and just boogie up and down, like, you know, Venice Beach and,
Yes.
and some shorts. Not sure I can pull that off. You know, I can't stand up straight in them. Like I'm like, the world is moving. The earth is moving under my feet. Or surf. I'd like to be a surfer. You know,
surfing is one that I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can do. Water and I don't go well together.
Water, the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things, though, they sound so much fun. And what I have been doing is I've been volunteering for a friend of mine's organization that is helping to promote sustainability in the world and raising awareness of the importance of basically environmental type of issues and how can we help and what can we do as average citizens to, you know, help clean up the air and the water and the, you know, get the garbage off the street and all that good stuff so that we can have a sustainable planet to inhabit. And that's been really rewarding and a lot of fun and a lot of hard work too. But I've definitely enjoyed diving into that world, and I've learned so much. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Is there a website or anything that people can check out to?
Yeah, it's called the U.S. Coalition on Sustainability.org. And it's a big, long name for a website. U.S. Coalition on Sustainability.org. But yeah, you can learn a little bit about what it is. And then there's this technology engine inside of it called Sustain Chain. And Sustain Chain is basically, it's connecting innovators, organizations, investors, and brands to create what they call collective ventures. So if you're someone who cares about soil health, or someone who works in the fashion industry and you care about sustainable fabrics, or you're in the technology industry and you care about green technology and what that means, you can create or join one of these little ventures and like drive them forward with other people inside Sustain Chain to make them a reality in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's important for us to know, because I think we've seen firsthand how the effects that our planet is having with the way that we're not protecting it.
We're seeing it now with like what happened, in Texas 2 weeks ago, like that, when have they seen that kind of weather before? Exactly. And there's a direct, relationship between, the climate change and what's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important. So we'll make sure that we put that. We'll make sure we put the website in our comment section so people can go check it out.
I found it and put it in the chat room for people to check out. So
cool.
Buy metal straws. I bought my first metal straws yesterday.
That is great. And see, stuff like that, those everyday, really simple things that you can do are really important to amplify and share, because I think most people are good people that want to help and want to do things differently, but they just don't know what to do. Other than like, I guess I recycle my plastics, but like, what else can I do? Like, that's a perfect example. Buy metal straws.
Yeah, and I got really excited because they're dishwasher safe and come with like a little thing to clean it, because I want my smoothie, but I'm like, I can't get it out.
I love it. Perfect.
Well, Cady, before we let you go, because we can talk and talk and talk, and then next thing you know, it's Monday and we're still talking. First off, as we said before, we truly appreciate your talents and what you brought to Days and to the character of Jennifer. And thank you so much for stepping in to fill those shoes so that we could have these amazing storylines that transpired. Before I ask this last question, this thought just happened. One of my favorite moments of yours was during the New Year's Eve party when Jennifer found out that Kate and Jack had an affair. And it's like each time something was said, you would give this look like each time, like, and it'll be, this information is like, oh, really? And I was just like, oh, I love it. I love the drop. Like, she doesn't even have to say anything. She's like,
no.
Uh-huh. And then looks at him.
The look was so strong. And it was one of those things that, like, I had Tony's reaction too, like, oh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
But I would not want to be on the receiving end of that look, because
Yeah. Matt knew he was in trouble. He was like, it's coming. Prepare yourself. The blowout. I have to tell you one other funny thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I cutting you off?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So my very first day, I got to work with Deidre Hall, right? Oh. And she was amazing, and it was so funny and so fun, and everybody was, and Drake Hugston, and he was so funny. We were laughing, and she said, make sure you find your light or something like that. And I was like, find my light. And she said, you don't know how to find your light? And I was like, well, I mean, it's over there, right? So I'm good, right? It's shining on me. I'm okay. She's, how long have you been in this business? And I was like, a fairly long time. She's, and you don't know how to find your light? And I was like, I guess not. And she said, okay, all right, let me help you here, darling. And she said, you got to see where the light is that's brightest, that's closest to you. and then you put your nose toward it. I'm doing it now. Like there's my ring light is slightly off, right? So I'm putting my nose toward it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So if you ever see me in a scene and I go,
Oh.
I am like, oh, my light's over there, but I gotta talk to you. I'm gonna keep my nose towards the light. Yeah.
I swear Deidre Hall should probably just write a book of things you should know, because I feel like when you interact with her, she always gives you a tidbit that you'll never forget. For me, when I first met her, I said, "You guys," and she said, "Oh, no, I'm not a guy." And I was like, "You're right." And ever since then, I've always self-consciously, when I'm around people, it's like, you something else other than guys. Like, don't say you guys. Deidre Hall said, don't say you guys. So I've always remembered that.
Yeah.
Lessons by Deidre.
Lessons from Deidre, yeah. And she's so incredibly kind. Like, I always just want to amplify that, because someone who's been on a show for so long and had the big star power and all of the glamour and the light, they could be maybe not so nice, they could be like, get out of my way, or are we doing this, or like tired or whatever. Not in the slightest. Funny, fun, nice, team player, lovely human being. I cannot say enough nice things about her. Just a lovely person. Yeah.
But before we let you go, because we'll keep talking. I'm so sorry.
I'm having a good time. I'm not complaining.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
What was your overall experience of being at Days and on Days and doing the role of Jennifer Horton, like, walking away from it, and as you like look back at all the work that you did, give us a scope of like your overall experience of this job for you.
I think the show asked me, in a way, and the situation asked me to bring my A game and to be the best person that I could be while doing that. And while aiming for that and trying to achieve that, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned places I needed to polish, and places where I really was able to help others, and and be my best self, and how good that felt to be. And I think the character of Jennifer too, she is extremely forgiving, but what's so important is to not judge that, I always say, like, don't judge the character, don't judge the situation. If you judge it, you're going to fail, because you're outside of it. And so getting inside a character that is forgiving was a great opportunity to expand myself as a human being. And, that love is more important than, if two people are committed to loving each other, it's an important and sacred thing to protect, and, to let go and to forgive, and to what the meaning of that forgiveness is, that's to contemplate that and to try to expand my own understanding of it. It was a great personal, exercise, to put myself in those shoes and to walk in that level of compassion, for other human beings. So I feel very blessed and grateful for that opportunity to have that.
Well, thank you for all of that. And just thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for stepping in as Jennifer and giving us your talent and like some very fun and memorable moments. I know that many fans in our chat have expressed that hopefully it's not you gone forever. They're hoping that you come back as Jennifer, and we all know how soaps are. You just never know what happens. I live in the theory of just being a fan with open arms. Just whatever happens, you just love and accept.
Oh, that's beautiful. Whatever keeps the shows on the air. I think that's all that matters.
Yes.
Let's keep them going. Let's keep having fun and supporting them. And I'm so grateful for your time, and thank you so much for asking me to come and be here and join you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I made it through this without saying Cady. Because when you first came on, and I was like, so Cady McClain, and they were like, it's Cady, and I was like, oh. And then now, like, my brain is always, and
it got into his head, and he was like, I'm gonna say it, but then he didn't. So
but you did.
I didn't. Yay. So yay! We're winning.
Yeah. Chocolate for you.
Yes, I love chocolate.
Yay! Pumpkin pie for dessert.
Yay! Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and we wish nothing but the best for you, and we really hope that we see you in whatever capacity it is. You know how soap fans are. We're very loyal. So you could release that show next week of all of the 80s, people, and the long title for one night only, and we'll attend.
That would be a blast. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cady.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, Cady.
Bye.
Yay. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was fun.
Yay. She was great.
She's like the nicest.
Yeah.
So nice. So nice and so giving and so like, I mean.
So insightful. What
another great interview. Like, that was this just really great. And we see all of your comments as well that you guys really appreciate it too. So yay. So thank you, Cady, for stopping by. We really appreciate it. But that's our show, everybody. We have been, we already had hearses and dished all the days that we could dish.
We had already did.
We already did it. But of course, before we head out, Michael Mattis.
Yeah.
Tell the kind folks where they can find you on the interwebs.
You can find me on the interwebs on Twitter and Instagram at MLMattis.
Just don't find him.
Don't find me. Don't find me.
Don't find him. Justin, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli.
You can find me on Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find all of us on Facebook at Dishin Days Show, on Instagram, Dishin Days, and _ Dishin Days on Twitter, and Dishin Days on YouTube, and all of your podcast stations. And you can find little old me at Lounging with Tony on all social media platforms. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another great show here at Dishin Days. And a special thank you to Cady McClain for coming on and giving us such an insightful interview about her time at Days. We will be back next week for another full dish of next week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. And trust me, I think it's going to be bold and fabulous. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, have a great week and be safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I always do an ending, and then I forget I'm the one that has to end everything. Bye, y'all.
Bye.